Okay, guys, you've seen it. The Prey is over. I can't believe it's actually out. I can't believe I can actually say it. The thing I've been waiting to say for 2 years of this show being on. The spinoff, the first World Gone Mad spinoff, comes to an end. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching the original show for all these years that you've watched it and deciding to give the spinoff a chance. Thank you so much. And genuinely, y'all, I would have never expected it. Honestly, the passion and love and support and anger I caused some of y'all in this show is exactly what I love to hear. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Seriously, from the first season to the second season to the movie to the third season and now the fourth and final season, which I can now say this was the plan. Now, you guys know I've talked about The Prey many times, and I've said, listen, you're going to come to one day where it's just going to end. Like, we're not going to announce it, it's just going to end. That's the thing about The Prey. And I kind of executed this show in a very different way than most TV shows do. I let you guys just linger on the fact that every time you tune into The Prey, that could very well be leading into the final part. You know what I mean? Or the final part itself. That was the journey. I did not want to tell you guys, which I can now tell you, that it's a 40-part series. I did not want to tell you guys that. I had an idea for it, and I was like, maybe I'll tell people. And I'm like, no, I don't think so, because one of the things I always see about any TV show, and I always see people talk about this, is when something's announced to be the end, or something in advance is known to be the end. And you'll constantly get people that say, oh, well, we only have a certain amount of episodes left, so I don't think we should be doing an episode here, or I think this episode should move quicker, or I think this episode should do that. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let people stress about that. Watch my show, enjoy it, and then when it's done, it's done. And that is exactly why I did what I did with The Prey. I just told you like that, The Prey was done. And that is exactly what it is. I secretly worked on this ending. I've been working on this ending for months. And that's what it is. The Prey is done, and it ends like that. There you go. I know some people are probably blindsided, and that's all right. That was the point of this show. I always told people, it's going to end one day, and it's just going to end. That's simply what it is. So what does all this mean? You know, what does all this mean? I'm going to obviously talk about the show a little bit here and talk about kind of the experience with it. You know, this show started back in 2024 while we were on a massive production hell for the original World Gone Mad back in season 4 when I was dealing with some copyright issues. And I decided to release this show. I decided, you know, I had this character in mind, Rob Johnson. I, at the time, knew he was going to be premiering on the original show back in season 5, and I knew that was upcoming, and I thought to myself, well, what if I kind of preview him a little bit before we get him on the original show? So that's kind of my thought process on when I decided to do it in early 2024, and you guys really showed a lot of love for Rob Johnson, and seriously, thank you so much, because, you know, it's tough to follow an act like Lincoln, you know, and Dave Miller, and, you know, these people, Haley West, you know, like, it's tough to follow an act like that, because you guys show so much passion for those characters, you know. I've had so many people say they've cried for Lincoln, you know, like so many crazy things, you know. And I really, really want to say thank you for loving Rob Johnson as much as you have, you know, this artist that, you know, has all this tragedy that had to, you know, fall in line with this con man Ragnar that ruined his life and constantly ruined his family, you know, killed his wife, killed his best friend, killed his daughter in the current timeline in the apocalypse when they regroup all these years later, you know, tortured our people. I mean, this is a rivalry that goes on for decades in this show between Rob and Ragnar, and that's what this show is about, is ultimately these two, and it's called The Prey because Ragnar leads the prey, which the title kind of always told you where this show was going to end up, and honestly, I'm surprised nobody predicted it. Ragnar wins, everybody, and I'm not going to even sugarcoat this. Ragnar wins for this show. That's what I will say. Ragnar wins for this series, and he wins with a victory. But Rob did get him pretty damn good, did he? I mean, he got him pretty damn good. He got him with the face. His face is no more. We're not see a stupid face ever again, you know? He has to go around looking like a skeleton to everybody, you know? Ain't it ironic, too, that he's the leader of the Skull Hunters, and now he looks like a skull man leading the crew? That was another thing intentionally that I wrote in very specifically. And that was actually something that my co-writer Megamat was suggesting as well that we do. He was the one that came to me and said, we should make him look like this. We should make him look like that. And I was like, buddy, this is a great idea. Like, this is really, really cool. And so, well, you know, overall, I mean, I'll kind of go into a few fun facts here about the show. The first season originally, if you guys remember, was called a mini-series at the time. Because what I was going to do with it, because we were waiting for the original show to come back, and I wanted to introduce Rob Johnson to you guys before he premiered on the main show. And I had this concept in mind, and I had this storyline in mind, and I can't really speak much on what it was, but Ragnar and his rivalry with Rob, I always thought needed its own series. I always thought that this is something that needed its own journey, and it needed its own time, and you may or may not recognize, but The Prey is like 20-some years later in advance from where we are in the original World Gone Mad, and I don't think everybody noticed that. World Gone Mad right now in Season 5 is in 2033, which is, you know, where we're in with Ziltramite right now, and Rob is leading that rebellion right now, right? Against Ziltramite to try to take it down, you know? But right now in The Prey, we're in 2049. So the original series is in 2033, and we're in 2049 here in this series. So we're getting a look into the future. That's what The Prey is a look into the future. You know, and we had the West family in this show, as we apparently have seen. And according to Mara in this episode, we have had a massive bombshell on what we've been watching this entire time. Apparently, these people that we've been watching are not the West family at all. Apparently, these people are people that were victims of our group. How the hell did that happen, right? What happened over these years? What happened with this crew? I mean, there's still an original show to watch, so maybe one day we'll find out. But all I'm telling y'all is that this is a spinoff. This is a addition to the original show, something you might get more context on the future, and I'm not going to deny that The Prey could always get a follow-up in the future. I'm never going to deny that. It's not one of those spinoffs that's a standalone that you'll just never hear about again. This is a show that if you stuck through till the end, which thank you all those that did, because I know a lot of you guys were really just wanting more episodes, and you wanted to get to these answers, and you wanted to know how the West family was somehow in this show, you know what I mean, and how all these things made any sense, and well, all I'm saying is you got some answers, but I'm not going to deny that this is a spinoff for a reason, guys. There are other things that I will say you will learn about as the years go on in this franchise. This show took a risk. We gave you a look into the future. We gave you a look into the future of apparently the West family. We gave you a look into everything with Rob Johnson, where he ends up, a rivalry with Ragnar, and that's the thing I can tell you guys. If you think that this is it for Rob and his story, it is not. There is more to his character that you will see. There is more to all of this that you will see. This is not it. This is just a puzzle piece in a puzzle, is what you just watched. That is what I can tell you about The Prey. You have watched 40 parts of adding context to a character that's already pre-existing in the original show. And before anybody tells me, Dan, Ragnar won at the end, you know, kind of. I mean, he has his face burn. He's not exactly coming out of it unscathed, but, you know, he came out with a decent victory, I would say, you know? Which, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I've had this concept for a long time, and the way The Prey was gonna go was, and this is a fun fact for everybody, is the first season I was going to do, and if the first season didn't end well, and if you guys didn't like the first season of The Prey, I would have ended up doing a limited run for it. You remember at the end of season 1, Rob reunited with his daughter Jade again in that, you know, arena, in that stadium. If that show wasn't well received a couple years ago, The Prey would have just been one season. But you guys showed so much support for the show that I knew I had to pursue what it was. And ultimately, I then decided, because of the reception, we're going to carry on the vision that I have for this show, which is the 40 parts that we ended up doing. And the original intent for this show was actually going to originally be 3 seasons. That was the original plan for this show, was we were going to do 1 season, see how it works out. You guys liked it, so then we carried on with the 2nd and the 3rd season. And originally, that's what we were going to do. And in the third season, I remember when we did the movie, which you guys showed a lot of support for, Artist and the Con Man, where we learned about Ragnar and Robb's past, my personal favorite installment of The Prey. At least from a showrunner perspective, I was very happy with how that one turned out. And you guys really grew to love Robb. And genuinely, guys, thank you so much for connecting to his character because, again, it really takes a character like him to, make you guys enjoy the show, And the fact you guys invested your time into his character, I've heard people tell me that he's his favorite character of all of World Gone Mad. And I'm like, damn, like that's insane, genuinely. So thank you for supporting his character. And again, you're not done with Robb Johnson, guys. He's in the original series when it comes back this summer, which, that's another thing I can say. World Gone Mad comes back this summer. I know you guys have been asking about it. There's a lot of shows going on right now, so I'm taking a bit of a break while we finish up 5B. But 5B is going to be releasing this summer. So you're going to continue Robb Johnson literally this summer in the Ziltramite storyline and in everything going on there. So stay tuned, obviously, for that. We're going to get back to our main crew, Dave, Haley, Kezia, everybody else, Tom. And for this show, yeah, that was kind of the initial plan, is I was going to do 3 seasons, and the third season would have been a big final season. And it was actually my showrunner, co-showrunner, Megamat, which I'm going to give a massive shout out to because I did the first 2 seasons of this series, and Megamat stepped in for season 3 and season 4, and he had a lot of amazing suggestions. And I really want to take this opportunity to now also highlight all the hard work that he did on this series. Megamat is an incredible worker. He's absolutely just, I couldn't say anything else aside from just his work ethic is incredible, genuinely. If anybody's ever worked with him, you'll know that he is somebody that's very passionate about what he does. He has a lot of really just passion for the work that he creates. And when I hired him for that very reason, because he's a hard worker, he knows what he's doing, and I take that stuff very seriously. I struggled for years of thinking whether or not I would ever get anybody to help write, World Gone Mad, because I just never could picture the idea, you know what I mean? And I hired him for the original series, and he was so good on there that I said, you're on for the franchise, buddy. You're doing the whole thing, And he accepted it. He was like, okay. So, thank you, Megamat. This is for you as well. Thank you for, supporting and helping out for this show. It does not go unnoticed. There is so much work to be done on so many other projects. This is just one of many. But for your contribution to this show, from the crazy moments you suggested to some of the just crazy stuff in general, we've had some amazing work together. And I would say for anybody that's looking to, wonder what kind of, work ethic Matt has and what he's like to work with, I couldn't say anything but aside from just, it's amazing. It's incredible. So big shout out to him as well. Also, all you fans for creating all this amazing artwork for the show, all this crazy stuff. I mean, what the hell? Seriously, it's insane, guys. You guys blow me away with your passion for this, And, I'll also highlight as well, that voice that you heard at the end of the episode there in the little post-credit, if you stayed till the end, that was Megamat, acting debut on World Gone Mad. That's right. That was him at the end. Matt got the final line of The Prey. We gave him that. Who is that guy that saw Robb in the cell at the end? He seems to know him. Who does Robb know? I don't know. Have we ever seen this character before? Have we never seen this character before? All I'm saying is here, guys, is for anybody that thinks that yes, Robb lost. Yes, Robb is now forced to work with his music manager again, which is the ultimate ending that I always knew I was going to do, is in the end, those two will still work together. That's what it always came down to. But in my kind of perspective, and this is how I would explain the ending of The Prey, is Robb Johnson died. That Robb Johnson did die. And he sacrificed himself, and he did the number one thing that he could never do. Think about it. Over the course of The Prey, he always lost his wife, his best friend, his daughter, his family always died, and he was the only one left. Ragnar was always able to hurt him and always get to him. And finally, in this last episode, Robb burns him, literally too, and gets his family and the people he cares about out of there. Nothing matters to him at this point. He finally broke that cycle and got his family out. Yeah, he's going to be working with Ragnar for the rest of his life, more than likely, but he's okay with that, because that Rob Johnson died so his family could live. And now, this is a pawn doing what he likes, playing his music, and hoping for the best for the rest of his life, knowing that he was able to save his family. That is the ending of The Prey. I know it's a complex one. I know it's a very different ending than probably what everybody expected to see Ragnar go down. Ragnar dies. Trust me, I heard you guys' theories. I heard about it the entire time, and I was like, that's not what this show is. That's not what this series is about. It's about these two men coming together, working together again, and finally the artist burns the con man and gets the advantage over him. Yeah, he lost, but did he really? Because ultimately he did win. He did get a victory. It's just not in the typical victory sense. You know what I mean? So that's the ending of The Prey. Again, whether we continue this story in the future, I can't really say. There's more to Rob Johnson's character, and we didn't put Ragnar on the original series for nothing. If you remember, Dave Miller ran into Mark Daniels / Ragnar in the Season 5 flashback. Just remember, there is a reason for that stuff happening. I don't put stuff in for no reason. You will get a follow-up on Ragnar's character, and you will get, for sure, as you already know, more of Rob Johnson. So this show started all of that. So thank you for watching the show. Thank you for supporting it. It was a great 2 years of doing a spinoff like this, and, well, we're not done, because the original show returns this summer, and there is more spinoff shows coming up. There's going to be Lonely Roads with Roger and Audryn coming out, which is a comedy-based series. That's going to be coming out later this year. There's also going to be History of a World Gone Mad, where you see backstories of characters that you may or may not know. There's going to be that as well, too. There's a whole bunch of lore that you will learn about as you continue. But for now, thank you for your support on The Prey. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for enjoying Rob, Velhazer, Ryder, Alara, Mara, may she rest in peace, and all the other characters, Ragnar. I mean, I can't even describe how many of you guys were just infatuated by Ragnar's character. Me and Megamat really tried our best to make him as entertaining as possible, but also as evil as possible as well. He's one of the most evil characters we've for sure seen in this franchise, without a shadow of a doubt. But listen, from part 1 to part 40, thank you for watching. What were your favorite parts? What was the highlights of the show for you? Let me know. And let me know how the show impacted you, you know what I mean? I love to hear it. I absolutely would love to hear it. And that's it for now, guys. World Gone Mad franchise will return this summer, but that is the end of The Prey. Alrighty, if you're new to the channel, guys, and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys, and of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos very soon. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World Gone Mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a straight fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.